back to another episode of Classrooms to Closings. I'm Mary Beth Burns, and I'm a local realtor here in the Metro Atlanta area, and I am here to educate you on all things real estate, except for today. I was originally planning to do a highly requested video of do's and don'ts of home reno, which I will still do. However, I was sitting here thinking about all of the teachers who are going back to school, who are already there to welcome students for this school year, and it felt very strange for me not to acknowledge that. So I sat down and I wrote a letter to all of the teachers of 2020 that I would like to share. And the next video, I'll get back to regularly scheduled content, but I just felt that this was really important and timely considering everybody's going back to work. So let's dive into this letter. I hope you enjoy it. Dear teachers of 2020, for those of you who already know me, hi. For those of you who don't know me, I might be a realtor now, but I've actually spent the past 12 years of my career in the world of public education. I've been a teacher, a school leader, and a district leader. And for those 12 years, I lived and breathed education. I've had the privilege of watching a student read his first book. I've had my entire class clinging to my legs, crying on the last day of school because they just did not want the year to end, saying that I was their favorite teacher ever and it was their favorite class they had ever been a part of. I've coached many new teachers and new instructional coaches on how to reach their highest potential so that they could push others to their highest potential. The list goes on and on and on. You could say that I've truly lived my best life when it comes to my career in education. Some may say that I'm on the sidelines now, and I want all the teachers to know that I'm not sitting silently on the sidelines. In fact, I'm your loudest cheerleader, yelling at the top of my lungs on the sidelines words of encouragement and admiration for the wonderful work that teachers do every single day. So teachers, this is the very first year since I was in preschool that I was not an active participant the first day of school. I cannot believe that this time is right around the corner. Depending on where you work, this first day might look different than any other first day of school in the history of our lives. It most certainly feels very different. With that being said, you all have been on my mind a lot recently. It's impossible for me to not put myself in your shoes and try to imagine what it must be like to prepare for the school year ahead. When doing so, I think about things that may have helped me if I were about to welcome a group of students in the midst of this pandemic, and I came up with 3 things that I wanted to share with each of you. Number 1, go big. I mean this wholeheartedly. Think of how difficult it normally is to engage an entire classroom full of students for an 8-hour school day. Teachers are truly some of the best entertainers around. This year, our students need to be more engaged than ever, but whether you're doing virtual schooling or face-to-face schooling while wearing masks, social distancing, and following any of the CDC guidelines, keeping students engaged has never been more challenging. That is why you need to go big. You need to have big energy. You need to have big smiles. You need to plan super big, super fun classroom culture and community building activities. You need to go over the top with innovative experiences that your students will never forget. It's not about what you're teaching, it's about how you make your students feel. It's about how you reach them through a mask or a computer screen to let each and every one of them know how much you care, how much you believe in them, and how you feel so lucky to have them in your class this year. Think about you as teaching in the middle of a huge stage in a giant arena, and your students are sitting way in the back in the very, very last row. You need to go big to be able to reach them. So have more fun, try new things, be extra silly, laugh louder. It might not feel natural at first, but it's what your students need and what you need in order to make this year count. So go big. Number 2, be happy. This may seem simple, but especially going into this school year, if you don't purposefully and intentionally plan for time to be happy, it is not always going to happen naturally. Even before the pandemic, educators have been working in a high-stress environment. And I don't mean high stress as always being something that's negative, but it is truly one of those jobs where you hit the ground running the second you walk into the building. And that running does not stop until the end of the day. Think about what makes you happy and put it in your schedule. When I was an assistant principal, the thing that made me the most happy was going into my teachers' classrooms and seeing some incredible teaching and learning. When I was a teacher, the thing that made me the most happy was setting aside just a short period of time to have a dance party or sing a song with my entire class. Wow, we had so much fun. I could definitely tell a difference in my mood when I did not go and see one of my teachers teach, or when I did not get to have a short dance party with my students. Sometimes that whole hit the ground running thing, it got in the way of me doing what brought me the most joy. If there were ever consecutive days where I did not get to do these things, my mood was significantly worse. So, I challenge you, find that thing, the thing that brings you the most joy, and do it every single day. If you need to write it down and set an alarm for it to happen in your schedule, do it. Whether it's reading a book to your students, or co-planning a lesson with the teacher on your hall who inspires you, do it. With virtual teaching, your favorite thing might not be possible right now. So you might need to find something outside of teaching that makes you happy, and do it. It could be as simple as having your favorite drink from Starbucks every morning. Whatever it is, just do it. Be happy. Number 3, give grace. This year is going to be wild. This is uncharted territory for everyone. There will be bumps in the road. It is not a question about if something goes wrong. It's a question about when something goes wrong. Most likely, you were not trained to teach during a pandemic. That is okay. All you can do is your best. Sometimes your best might be a lesson that completely flops. That is okay. Learn from it, fail forward, and give yourself grace. You might not be that rock star teacher that you have been every single year. That lesson that is your absolute favorite and was always such a hit with the kids, it might not resonate during this year. That is okay. Just focus on getting 1% better every single day. You are not the only one who's going to need grace. You need to give it to your students. Think about how much discipline adults need to be able to work from home. Now think about how a child is going to navigate working from home. They may or may not have a parent who can hold them accountable the way that they would like to because they're working themselves. The child might be an extrovert who thrives on working with others in collaborative groups. Who knows? There are so many reasons in 2020 why a student might not be at his or her best. Just like you were giving yourself grace, encourage your students to get 1% better every single day. Parents, they're gonna need grace too. And I'm not talking about the ones who have always been and will always be irrational and unbelievably difficult. We don't worry about them. If you have a good administrator, they're gonna take those parents off your plate and they're gonna have your back as long as you're doing what's best for kids. I'm talking about the parent who is normally very supportive of you in the school, but for whatever reason, they just can't be that parent during this difficult time. They might not be as present, or they may come off short in an email or two. Just put yourself in their shoes. Many of you are already in their shoes, and give grace. I firmly believe that whatever you put out into the world will come back to you. So give grace and get grace. There it is. Go big, be happy, give grace. This is a school year that people are going to talk about for years to come. Your students will likely tell their children and their grandchildren about what it was like to going to school during this pandemic. So let's give them something great to talk about. Give them a happy or funny memory to share. Give them a story about how amazing and strong and fun and encouraging that their teacher was that year. You are making history right now. I can't wait to hear about all the incredible things you will inevitably do for your students and for each other. I will always be your number one fan. You've got this. Love, Mary Beth Burns, currently a realtor, formerly a teacher, but forever an educator.